All right, good evening, everyone. This is Deshaun Bradley, the fighting carrier. I want to welcome you to a very late edition this evening. I had a lot of things to do today, right after work. My daughters had some things to do, had a house to clean up. You know how it is being a husband and a father to children. So, running a little bit late, so I'm going to get right into it. Again, this is Deshaun Bradley. I am the fighting carrier. Once again, with another live stream. As you can tell from the title from this, I have it entitled, They Want Us to Make Money Like a Business, and then oppose us. Oppose the USPS for making money. So, how does that work out? They want us to make money, but then they oppose the post office for trying to make money, or they oppose the post officer making new ideas and whatnot, trying to think outside the box. And we have a problem with that in society. So I want to get right to it. Reason why I brought up this topic is because let me show you this article here. Let me get to it. It's over here on this one. Let me show you this article. Notice this title here. It says Virginia joins 21 states in opposing USPS gun mailing proposal. Virginia Attorney General Jay Jones on Tuesday joined 21 other states in opposing a proposed USPS service rule that would allow certain firearms to be sent through the mail, warning that the change could undermine state gun laws, make it easier for prohibited individuals to obtain weapons. Make it easier, as if criminals aren't going to be criminals. I mean, these people here in power, they pretend as if people aren't going to be illegal regardless of what's going to happen. Now, me, I'm not a big gun guy personally per se, but I know a lot of people are. And that's your right. It's all good with that. With me, I don't care one way or the other. Use the guns for self-defense, hunting, or whatever. It is what it is. Do what you got to do. I'm not a big, gun person myself. I do believe in self-defense, of course, and I have other means of defending myself and whatnot. But that's one of the things I'm not too worried about in life for the most part. But my thing is, you have people here in society, be it commentators, be it Congress people, be it business people. On the one hand, they moan and complain that the post office is losing money all the time. But then on the other hand, when there are some proposals in order for us to increase revenue, they don't want to do that. See, they want us to make money like a business, but then when it comes time to make new decisions in order to generate more revenue, they say, nah, forget about it. Not gonna do that. Now we're gonna ban you from delivering firearms. We're going to not allow the post office to deliver alcohol, other things, other so-called contraband that we are not allowed to deliver at this point in time. And it's like, why? So why are you complaining if the post office is losing money? And as you claim, the post office is a business, which we as carriers and all employers of the post office understand that the post office is not a business. In fact, it's a service. We serve the American people. We deliver to every address, every mailbox out there. That's what we do. We are a service. We deliver whether we make money or not. Yet, here you guys are. Virginia joined 21 other states in opposing USPS gun mailing proposal. And I get it. Mail theft is high. I understand that. But there's actually ways in which you can do this. We can do it safely as well, as opposed to just having it all willy-nilly. What you could do is each office has specialized gun delivery people. Perhaps you have a separate truck to where firearms are just sent via trucks, and and with everything being done electronically, there's an electronic manifest here, and from point A to point B to point C to point D, everything is signed off. You know who are the people who are supposed to get it, and then you only have a few people signed in the post office, perhaps specially trained individuals. And when these things come across, no matter which route it goes to, those one or two, three or four carriers from that particular office, it's their responsibility to deliver the firearm to where it's supposed to go. And of course, with that, before it's even delivered, or even if we don't deliver it, they come inside the post office there with a complete ID check as well. Complete ID check. And what's the problem with having? Because we are a part of the federal government. Why couldn't we have the federal, I don't know, gun lobby or gun background checks on the computer at the post office? Why couldn't that be done? Why couldn't we work together with state officials as well as federal officials, and when those packages come in, they stay in the post office, secured and locked? They can train us. If there needs to be a specialized person there to learn to do the background checks within the post office, why can't we do that? No, why can't that be done? And a person has to come pick it up with a valid ID as well. They pick it up from the post office itself. And if we have to put barriers up at post offices everywhere, bumper barriers, glass or whatever, so be it. We do that. But why can't we do anything to try to make money? See, these are the thoughts and the ideas that these people who sit around Congress and other areas, they don't think of it. They think, oh, guns, bad. I can have a firearm sitting here on my countertop right here. It would just sit there. It won't do anything. It takes a person with ill intent to misuse that firearm. That's what happens. It's not the weapon itself. It's the person behind the weapon. But there are many different ways in which we can actually do this if people will actually think outside the box. If they will actually put together a point A to point Z plan and continuously check on it quarterly, yearly, or whatever, to make sure things are taking place properly. I say have a monthly, weekly, or quarterly review of the steps there. But I really wish these officials, be it in Congress, the Postmaster General, the Board of Governors, or whomever, I really wish these people would get off their high horses and thinking that just because they went to college, they got specialized degrees. I went to college. I got a bachelor's degree. I really wish these people would get off their high horse and think that just because we don't have the PhD or the master's degree, that we on the ground don't have any good ideas, that we don't know what we're talking about. I really wish that these guys would, I wish Congress would call upon a carrier like me or other experienced carriers to come up to Capitol Hill to discuss these different things, these different thoughts and different ideas and stuff. Because we got all these geriatric people that's taking the lead. There are very few Gen Xers in there, millennials in there taking the lead in these decisions, because we have fresh ideas, we have new ideas that we need to implement. Because if they want us to make money like a business, then they have to let us do things to be like a business. Being the post office, we're the only one. We're one, if not the only, federal government that's required to make a profit. Now, how is that possible? We don't ask the FBI. We don't ask the IRS. We don't ask Social Security. We don't ask them to generate revenue. Again, I go back to this. We got the War Department that's failed 9 audits. They failed every audit since 1990, I believe, from the last article I read. Yet they want us, the United States Postal Service, to continuously make money. Why? And they also want us to be moved from Article 1 protections to Article 2, putting us under the executive, so that the president himself or whoever, they can just fire everybody and start fresh. They can just sell it off, so their billionaire buddies can get a piece of the pie. But that's another story for another day. So we see here, Virginia joins 21 states in opposing USPS gun mailing proposal. Now let's go to this other article right here. This is Representative Haley Stevens introducing a bill to stop the USPS plan allowing handguns through the mail. Here again today, Michigan Congresswoman Haley Stevens, alongside Representative Mike Thompson, chair of the House Gun Violence Prevention Task. What is that? House Gun Violence Prevention Task Force. That's a mouthful. And Jill Takunda from Hawaii introduced the Keep Illegal Handguns Out of the Mail Act. Keep illegal handguns out. Stop the U.S. Post Office from moving forward with a proposed rule to expand handgun shipments through the mail. Let's see here what she says. Michigan families are tired of watching Washington move in their own direction on gun safety. The last thing we should be doing is making it easier for handguns to move through the mail. My bill draws a clear line. No backdoor expansion of handguns access through USPS from Oakland County to communities across our state. Michiganders want common sense safeguards that protect public safety. Allowing anyone to ship handguns by mail creates unnecessary risk for postal workers, law enforcement, and families. Stop right there. Why would we allow anyone to ship handguns by mail? Why would we do that? Why can't we just use the current legal gun shops who does the background checks? Okay, that those background checks are shared with the USPS, especially their federal background checks, but even if they're state. Allow the post office to have access to this, to where these reports can be sent to the USPS. So now you can mail it out. It may take a little bit longer process, but why? Why not? It's common sense safeguards to protect public safety. So they pass a background check, and what's the problem for mailing it out to that person? And of course, that person who gets it will have to have an ID. It will have to match everything, and go from there. Why not? Let's see. Thompson says this: reversing a sensible 99-year-old law against mailing handguns is flat out dangerous. Families, postal workers, and law enforcement want more safety measures in place, not fewer. Maybe some, but you don't speak for me as a postal worker. Sorry. In past families and past law enforcement, but again, you got safety measures already in place. The background checks. If we have access to the federal database, which we should be able to, I don't see why not. There shouldn't be an issue with that. It says instead of focusing on lowering costs or protecting our democracy, Republicans are carrying out the whims of the gun lobby and reversing popular safety measures at the cost of American lives. Now, what safety measures are being reversed? Can a person still get a firearm without a background check? No, you can't. So what safeguards are being reversed by this policy? Representative Takunda says this: the mail is how families receive medicine, paychecks. They still get checks in the mail, birthday cards, graduation cards. He didn't say that, but I'm adding that. Ballots. By dismantling nearly a century of public safety protections, USPS risks opening a dangerous pipeline for illegal handgun trafficking that threatens law enforcement, postal workers, and families across the country. You do realize that there are drug dealers out there who are sending cocaine and drugs to the mail already. So if a person's going to be illegal, they're going to be illegal anyway. So what's going to stop it? A person being illegal? She says Hawaii, like many states, is already seeing rising gun violence tied to untraceable and unregistered firearms, and the cost is measured in lives cut short and families forever changed. I'm not a criminal by any stretch of the imagination, but I am from the hood back in Ohio, and if I wanted to get an untraceable, unregistered firearm, I can easily do that. I know where to go to get one. I know who to talk to, who to look at, who to look for to get one. So by you saying that through the gun, untraceable, unregistered firearms, how's it untraceable? If it comes through the mail, the postal inspection services, they have ways to track where the package came from, which box it came out of, which location it came from within that area. There are cameras and things everywhere. They can find who sent the package. They really can. You're acting like the post office. Let me get back on screen here. These guys are acting like the post office is so outdated that we don't have the technology to be able to track people, to be able to figure out where this package has come from. These representatives act as if we're so stuck in a stone age that we can't track these things. And again, if I wanted to get a legal firearm, I can do so if I wanted to. But see, I'm not a criminal, but I know where to get them from. So they're thinking that, whenever there's ideas out here in order to get money for post office, these guys, they don't want anything to do with it. And it makes zero sense to me. Why is this way? Because these people they sit in office and they overreact to things. Instead of sitting down, having a discussion, pros and cons, and then coming to a consensus together, no, they immediately want to say, no, I'm not gonna do this, not gonna do that. No. It's unsafe. Let's get back to the article here. Finish this up. It is. Let's see here. She says, I'm proud to co-lead this bill with Representative Stevens and Thompson because we must not allow the Postal Service to become a backdoor for deadly weapons to flood our communities. Okay. And as if that doesn't happen already. Current federal law generally prohibits private individuals from mailing handguns through USPS. So it says with narrow exceptions from licensed dealers and government entities. It says narrow exceptions. It just expand that with government entities and licensed dealers. And I can kind of see this point right here. Trump administration's proposal USPS is cracking open the door to allow anyone with access to a mailbox to send and receive handguns through the mail. No background checks, no record keeping, and no involvement by a licensed dealer. All right, that I will say, if this is what the administration is proposing, no background checks, just anyone can just send one. I would agree that that's not cool at all. But I do agree with just expanding it. Allow us the federal database of those who pass the background check and they come to post office and pick it up, to where we don't even handle it. The postmaster supervisors, these guys, and of course, not every one of them is trustworthy as well. So I understand. I kind of get that point right there. But still, strengthen that point up. Allow more private, trustworthy, and licensed dealers to be able to mail this stuff to individuals who want it. And that's all. That's all they really got to do. Again, these same people in Congress who are complaining about the smelling the guns, are the same people who are demanding, well, why are you losing money? And then when you try to propose ways in which you can make money with the post office, they want nothing to do with it. So I don't know, but I do agree in part with that. Not to have anyone, any Tom, Dick, and Harry to be able to just mail a gun out. And I get that. That's very fair, to be honest with you. But if they were to do that, then what they could do is, as the sender would have to run a background check. And what we can do at the post office is, if a person tries to mail a firearm, there should be a way at the post office to where they can see if there's a firearm within the box. There should be some kind of label, some kind of inspection in which they can be able to do so. And from that, if the sender sends the package out, there should be a way in which the post office can check the sender to see if they initiated a background check on the person sending that firearm off. And then if they did, and then the person who's receiving it, whatever they got to do, background check. There should be some kind of record there to show that both the sender and the receiver initiated some kind of federal check or whatever in order to get that firearm. And if not, then that weapon goes back to the sender. Matter of fact, no. That weapon will go back to that person's local law enforcement office, local police station, to where that person will have to go there to pick it up. Okay, because and perhaps a fine or something. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe not even a fine, just a warning or something. But I get it. I know some people say they will cite the Second Amendment in the sense that it shall not infringe. I know background checks and all that stuff like that. To some people, consider that infringing. Apples and oranges. It's whatever. It is what it is. But you gotta understand, people are crazy nowadays, and they will use those blinkies to do what they got to do in order to delete someone. And we don't want to do that. We don't want to allow that type of violence there and whatnot. So, and as I'm going back and forth thinking about, USPS wants to make money. They want us to make money as if we're a business, and then when we try to do something, they oppose it. When are they going to allow the post office to expand its services? Perhaps, again, the delivering of alcoholic beverages. As a DoorDasher, you can DoorDash alcohol. You got to get an ID. You scan the ID, whatever, and there you go. You're done. Why can't we do the same thing? But we got the alcohol. Someone has their ID. We use our scanner, scan the back of that ID. Boom, done. It's in the system. It's in the system. And if we got to start sharing data with DMV, whatever, I don't know. But there are ways in which we can work within our agencies, whether state, local, or federal, in order to save money or to make money for the post office. So I want to get those two articles out of the way. First, like I said, this is going to be a very quick show, but those ideas, not those ideas, but those news articles hit me today. Wasn't even going to talk about that. I was going to talk about something totally different, but but that just caught my attention because as I'm thinking about the USPS and Congress, our bosses, all these people want us to make money as if we're a business, but when it's time to make money, they oppose the ideas. So, I said, I wish these guys in Congress would call upon us, city carriers, rural carriers, mail handlers, clerks, the people that's actually doing the work, versus as opposed to Steiner, the Postmaster General, and these other people who don't carry anything. They sit behind the office desk in order to try to come up with some ideas that on paper looks good, but in the real world, practical application, not so much. So, well, that's all I got tonight. I ran late tonight. I wanted to make sure I fulfill my obligation to do a show tonight. I won't be here tomorrow because tomorrow is my church night, so I will not be here. But I will be back on Friday with you. So this is Deshaun Bradley, the fighting carrier. Please like and subscribe to my channel. You can find me on Facebook as well, the Fighting Carrier. If you're a letter carrier, you can join there, or if it's just anyone in general, just join there. Help spread the word, because I'm going to talk postal issues and other things as well. So, all right, this is Deshaun Bradley from the Fighting Carrier. Again, please like and subscribe, and we will catch you on the next one.